The debasement trade is here. Gold and silver are showing us exactly what is going to happen with Bitcoin. There is an inevitable printing that must occur day in and day out here in America, all the Western countries, and really around the world, because we know that all government fiat currencies go to zero. Every single one of them. All of them. No government fiat currency in human history has lasted forever. I believe the average age is what, 20 to 50 years that a government currency lasts. We are here on year 52, 53, right? 1971, 55, I guess. And yes, the tools that the Federal Reserve has are maybe broader, bigger than they've ever had before, but we are getting to the end of the line. The debts that we see here, the exponential growth of the debt, is the Bitcoin chart. And really, when you zoom in, when you zoom out, it is. And when you zoom in, you see the gold and silver chart. That's exactly what is happening. And again, let's not get it twisted here. Gold and silver, this is what people talk about for decades. And it is the trade as of the moment. It is not the future, but it is the trade at the moment, because we know that the eastern part of the world has a lot of gold and silver. That's the trade they want to play out. We've been hearing about BRICS, the death of the dollar, nails in the dollar coffin for 15 years, 20 years plus. And that trade is now playing out. And the older generation has gold and silver. The older generation that has majority of the wealth doesn't have Bitcoin. So this is a play. While we know where the puck is heading, it's not there this moment, right? So as a hockey guy with hockey analogies, it's someone dumping the puck in, and we know that the puck's going to wrap around the boards and it's going to come up at the other side of the blue line, the other side. But right now, the puck's getting dumped into the end right now. We're just not quite there yet. And time horizons are what are really, really screwing with people. And it makes it tough. It does make it tough. So we know, therefore, the Bitcoin all-time highs will come once again very soon. So we have gold and silver right here showing us the top two assets, destroying everything else. The debasement trade. Metals, precious metals, fancy, beautiful rocks that have a lot of utility, but destroying all of the other companies. And it is a beautiful thing to see, because it really represents truth. It represents what's actually happening. It represents an awakening. So again, you're going to have people, when you write about currency debasement and bought Bitcoin instead of gold, silver, copper, you're going to have people that are going to take their victory laps and, hey, I have empathy for them. I was gold and silver guy 15 years ago when I left Michigan State University, when I started playing professional hockey. And I was reading The Creature from Jekyll Island. I left a life of politics and being in politics in school and majoring in that in school, and then seeing 08, 9, 10 happen, and seeing that it wasn't red versus blue, it was a state versus you. It was two sides that looked like they were warring factions and they represented something different, but they were all a uniparty. It was all the same thing, and there was no way to escape that matrix. And so it leads you down the road of, why is this happening? And it became very quickly observable that once you start studying the money and actually figuring out what's going on, which they don't teach you in government-run schools, whether it's K through 12 or higher education, government-run schools obviously aren't going to teach you about money. Money for thousands of years was gold and silver. And the dollars, or the fiat currencies, all go to zero, like we just mentioned a minute ago. They all go to zero eventually, because they're just claim checks. They're not the actual money themselves. The gold and silver was money forever. The claim checks themselves used to have bearable to the bearer on demand in gold. It was the actual claim check. So I empathize with gold and silver guy. They, again, write in looking back through 5,000 years of history. However, facts do change, and we're in a world where the horse is no longer needed because we have the automobile. We don't have this world where we don't know how to fly anymore, where we don't have fire, right? And it takes a while to transition. All these transitions took a long time. We've talked about before that in 1910, there was an article, I believe in the New York Times, about how we'll never see air cargo, commercial air freight. I forget exactly what they called it. And 1 year later, we had the first commercial cargo flight. This is what we're seeing right now. So it's positioning yourself for what's about to happen, what is happening. Because again, we have this reevaluation trade going. America is helping to crush the dollar. the East is crushing the dollar through this revaluation of gold and silver. But as we know, you have two types of money. You have physical coins, physical tokens, and you've got a ledger. You cannot have physically. Again, it's so simple that it's obvious once you see it, but it seems crazy, I guess, when you don't, right? There's no other way to say it other than there's only one way to have global currency or a global ledger if it's immutable and it goes across the nodes around the world. It's instantly verifiable and you can instantly transact. The trade is the settlement. You cannot have that with gold and silver. So while gold and silver is good in a local tribe or when you might need something from your friends or family or something to that effect, you can't run a global economy on it. Hence why gold and silver has failed for thousands of years, because we've always reverted back to paper claims and now digital credit or credit cards or these different software, these different things we're using to get around the physicalness of gold and silver. So this is where we find ourselves. We find ourselves in this weird schism, this weird bridge time where we know the end game. Like I said, we know the puck's coming around the boards. We know where the puck is going to end up, but we're not quite there yet. So it's tough. It is very tough to see where the world is going. But Bitcoin at the end of the day is not about just getting wealthy, just getting rich. The crypto crowd, yes, that's what people want. The NFTs, maybe the gold and silver people, I have no idea. I think there's a lot of gold and silver people being from that world that want a better world. They see, hey, how are we going to restrain government? How are we going to actually do this? I just believe the facts have changed and many of them have not caught up to the new facts. And that's why there's a lot of gold and silver bugs formerly that are in Bitcoin now, because you see the difference in the money, the physical tokens versus the immutable ledger. If you're actually going to have a world where we are, I mean, look what happened in Minnesota. We had a tax revolt on our hands, the fraud that's enabled by gold and silver. We did a video on this a couple weeks ago. Gold and silver enabled the fraud everywhere we see to happen because gold and silver is not effective as global money. So then we revert to claim checks, we revert to paper dollars, and then everything is incentivized against the people. Sovereignty, freedom, liberties are all stripped from the people over time as government grows bigger because it can, because we have a system built on nothing. And this has happened for thousands of years, many times throughout history. The whole cycle repeats and repeats. So going back to gold and silver, maybe in the short term might be okay. But eventually in the long run, we know exactly where we'll end up. So as we said many times here as well, we've showed the Titanic analogy here. And we know that the Titanic is the USD denominated in everything. But the Bitcoin network, the protocol, is the lifeboat off the life raft. It is the chance. It still could sink. I'm not sitting here saying it's nothing. There's some perfect solution in life, because that's just not life, unfortunately. But we know it has a chance to succeed where everything else in the system is on the Titanic. And again, this is coming from someone who was a macro guy 15 years ago and has started real estate businesses and raised a lot of money and been gold and silver guy. I was that guy living from experience. And then you realize at some point, there's a reason that we keep reverting back to this. And Bitcoiners, a true Bitcoiner, someone that is there for, again, probably money in the beginning. That's why people get into Bitcoin generally. Almost everyone gets in, not everyone, because of the money. Then you realize very quickly, well, there's something more to this. There's something more to the protocol. There's something more to the network. This does actually incentivize solutions for human beings and monetizes greed. You're not going to change human beings. That's one of the discoveries of Satoshi, is many of these systems, they rely on humans changing who they are. You're never going to change humans and who we are. We are going to care about ourselves first. That's just human survival. Call it whatever it is. You're trying to figure out how to survive. So what Bitcoin did is it put everyone on the same side of the table. It monetized greed. It asked humans not to change who they are. Pretty wild when you think about that. I mean, it's really mind-bending, quite honestly. So we can go through the properties of money, what good money is and what it's not. And Bitcoin is the best version of money, maybe the first money we've ever actually had, where it was truly finite, like our finite time on Earth. We have only a certain amount of time on Earth, and we know there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin. Those are the only two assets I have that are perfectly scarce, perfectly finite. Yes, are some more finite than others, or more scarce than others? Yes, of course. But we know there is 21 million Bitcoin, or only will be, and we know I have a certain time on Earth. You have a certain time on Earth. Those match up perfectly. No one can debase it. No one can mess with it. No one can print more of it. It's impossible. And yes, can you have paper claims on Bitcoin and people can play some funny games? They can, and they will. They might be right now. But we know Bitcoin is an auditing system and we can actually audit what's going on. Unlike, as we've seen, gold and silver. Once again, one of the travesties of gold and silver is that you cannot audit what's going on. We don't know what Fort Knox has. So people talk about the Peter Schiffs of the world. They talk about we're going to have a Bitcoin-backed stable or a gold-backed stable coin. How was that any different than what we have now, what we've had? We have to trust men and women to do the auditing. You have to then audit the time and energy to audit, but then you have to trust the people doing the auditing. It's a circular loop. It's this downward spiral, this downward debt spiral, whatever we want to call it, where you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It's literal insanity coming from someone who was that guy 15 years ago. And then 10 years ago, I started seeing something a little different. Facts started changing. The properties that Bitcoin has, the properties, not number go up, not whatever it is, number go up brings people in, but then they start researching because they have skin in the game. They start realizing things like this. They start going deeper. It starts showing you when you move away from the Titanic that voting for a new captain really isn't going to do much. You've already hit the iceberg. You've already hit the iceberg. Trying to get in shuffled deck chairs, getting other assets. I'm getting copper this time. I'm getting, whatever. Copper is not a unit of account. Money is. Bitcoin is, right? Everything divided by 21 million. You're not denominating life. No one in life is denominating what something is in ounces. You can do that, but no one does. And yes, a lot of people don't do it with Bitcoin yet, but you can see how it will be very easy to do that, or it will be very easy because there's only 21 million. I can denominate everything by 21 million. I can't do that with ounces because I don't know how many ounces are out there, hence the auditing problems. I can't audit. Bitcoin is a protocol that's being audited every 10 minutes. So FTX happens or Chase Bank will blow themselves up, say, hey, someone else, major people, not only will we have all-time highs soon in US dollar price, the value of Bitcoin will be going up soon, following suit, as it usually trails like it did in 2020, gold and silver, and then Bitcoin will have its run up as well. To Doug's comment here, it will be a run up as well. The greater powers at play, again, this is where you have the Larry Finks of the world who, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, or the Donald Trumps of the world, or whoever it is. They're telling you what's going to happen. They're showing you, they're laying the roadmap out for what is happening, what is coming. And whether the NSA created it or whoever, it doesn't matter. It's an open protocol that no one controls. You run a node, I run a node. We all run nodes. We are the votes in the system. That's the difference between gold and silver, he who sits next to the money printer, or a validator on the proof of stake networks, or whatever it is. Bitcoin is radically different from all of those other systems, all those other protocols. But again, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes burning your hand in the stove, it takes getting screwed over, it takes getting lied to. It takes this hodling over time. It takes being annoyed and having patience and seeing where the puck is going at the end of the day. We're never going to go back to a system where we have physical tokens trying to do world commerce. It's literally impossible. It's physically impossible. So the younger generations see all this going on and they laugh. People 40 and under, 45 and under, just completely laughing. My kids they know the different monies. They know gold and silver. They know Bitcoin. They know government currencies, and they know the difference. And they will only use Bitcoin in the future. I was that guy. Again, I was this guy 10 years ago, 15 years ago, having gold and silver in vaults and then buried in the yard and then over here and then losing gold and silver and then finding it and not knowing where it is. Do we really think we're going to run global commerce on that? The only way to actually have it is in these vaults. Third parties, trusted middlemen, trusted third parties. It's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over and over again, that we just keep doing this. But we've never had the answer until now. We've never had an answer to the problem, to the quiz until now. Which, by the way, speaking of an answer to the quiz, here is one of my good buddies, another Bitcoin content creator. I shared a great video of this. Hopefully you guys can hear this. This is the answer. What is this? Big Johnny, or whatever this guy's name is. This is life. This is how life works at the end of the day.
You learn your lesson. That's the old school way.
Hopefully you guys can hear it.
OS. How you doing, Instagram? It's Big Time Tommy. And here's my thought of the day. In school, you are given the lesson first, then the test. But in life, you are given the test, and then you learn your lesson. That's the old school way. OS for life. Take it easy.
Beautiful. In school, you learn the lesson and then you're tested. In life, you are tested, then you learn the lesson. For some reason, human beings, we've had a very hard time learning the lesson. We keep getting beat over the face over and over and over again. Call it Stockholm syndrome. Call it humans don't like change. Call it what you will. But we like the pain of the comfort. We like that. We like being beat over the head. I truly believe, and this is stack the dips, stay humble, stack stats, exactly. And what Ardman said right here, everything we supposedly know is a belief, except for Bitcoin that can be verified. Exactly. And I know the 40, 45 and under crowd, after the thousands of comments I've seen, the people I've talked to over the last 10 or 15 years, are completely fed up, sick and tired of the lack of transparency, the no verifying anything in life, the 10-tier justice system. This will not go forward anymore. It might for another month or another 6 months or another year or two, another presidential election or two. It might. But I guarantee you, 2-3 decades from now, 4 decades, whatever it is, in the coming decades, this will not be the case. As the younger generations have wealth come to them and they stack in the hardest money there is, something that the governments cannot print, you're going to see all the ridiculousness start to subside over time, because governments have to then come to people and risk blowing themselves up if they are going to print, paper or Bitcoin, or they have to come to the people. You look at what happened right here. Again, what's going on in Minnesota? There's a tax revolt going on because of what was discovered that was happening because of fiat currencies that was started by gold and silver. Gold and silver were the money, but they can't work globally. You cannot have gold and silver for long periods of time, call it 50, 100 years or more, and have sustaining society long term, unless you have maybe a homogenous society in the Roman Empire, like they did for a couple hundred years. There's one instance of it, right? So you can't have sustainable long-term success as a society built on physical money. It's literally impossible. And so because of that, we kept going to gold, or from gold and silver to credit, to different layers of money, and then the cash on top of that. So we have this paper system built on top of it that is then enables the people at the top to scam you through inflation, taking it. And then now you're incentivized because money is eroding and falling through your hands. There's too much month at the end of your money. Now you have to go out and do more. You have to get on the hamster wheel again. You don't have enough time for your kids. You don't have enough time for your wife. So you get divorced from her. You have to put your kids in government-run government-run schools all day long. And you have to, because you have to go work. And now you and your wife have to work, your spouse. Now you got to work 2 jobs. Now you got to work 3 jobs. Now you're out on credit. Now you have so much credit card debt. Now you're taking student loans. You're doing all these things that put you in debt and put you slave to someone else. So now, instead of the tax revolt that was going on in Minnesota, what do we have now? All but forgotten. Not even a month later. We have no idea what's going on with the Leering centers. We have no idea what's going on with any of this. But now we have different kinds of protests. Why is this? It's because the powers that be want us distracted from what's actually happening. These people that lost their lives didn't have to lose their life. We could be talking about the IRS. Can you imagine if people had this much disdain for the IRS? Can you imagine if people had this much disdain for the Federal Reserve? The people that really are sucking their life force away from them. Those 2 people could be alive still that lost their lives up in Minnesota. We wouldn't need militarized police forces running around the country, which is not good either. Both sides are right, both sides are wrong. That's the insidiousness. When you are not building the system, a new system you want to be in, when you're advocating for gold and silver, when you're advocating for the dollar, when you're advocating for real estate and all these other asset classes, you are advocating for more of the same. Period and end of story. You are advocating for more of the same BS. What are you going to vote harder? Vote harder next time. Vote for 5 times next election. How much harder are you going to vote next time? What are you going to do? You're going to sit around and just keep watching these things happen? Maybe it's time we start thinking of a different answer. Is there a different answer? Do we have a different answer? There's got to be something out there. Only if there was something out there to rework the incentives of society and not let a couple of people at the top, a couple hundred families at the top, steal your time and energy away from you. So you're stuck on a hamster wheel the entire time. But we're going to keep doing this Max Payne thing. We're going to keep going down the rabbit hole and keep this Max Payne, get beat over the head. And then 10 years from now, 100 years from now, we finally realize once we're in the Matrix, in the AI panopticon, too late now. That's not the world I'm living in. I'll tell you that much right now. And it doesn't have to be yours. It doesn't have to be the world you're living in. It does not. You choose what you believe. Like we said, everything, and Armin said, everything we believe, it's a mindset. Most people do not believe they are good enough for Bitcoin. Most people do not believe they are worthy of Bitcoin. Most people don't believe they are worthy of these properties you see here on this screen. They don't believe it. They do not believe they are worthy of this right here, this orange column, that they can have all these things. What do most people say to you about Bitcoin? Yeah, that's great. I get it. All these things make sense, but government, but it won't work, but no one uses it, but, well, when does that stop? When does that change? When do you realize that you are the government? When do you realize that you have agency over your life? Or is this something we're so beaten down, we're so broken inside, we're so lifeless that we just don't care? Are we just going to go like sheep into the slaughter, as George Washington said 250 years ago? Where are we? Where are we? It's the time that tried men's souls. Are we advocating for more red versus blue? Are we advocating for gold and silver? All the things that have failed in the past? Are we advocating for that? What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. The 40 and under crowd, the 45 and under crowd, and select people that are here on this channel and that I've seen around the Bitcoin space that are above 40, 45, we love you. We know you're here too. But the younger generations, whether they know it or not, this is the fourth turning stuff. The younger generations will not put up with it anymore. Hence the protesting, hence what's going on, hence all the craziness. Both sides are right, both sides are wrong. But with Bitcoin, the right properties that we see here, the right incentives, consumers and producers are put on the same side of the table. Governments and the people are put on the same side of the table. And the governments start to be defunded naturally, organically over time. It's very simple. It's a very simple process, but it's a mindset. It's a belief. If you believe you can, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. So going back up here again, yes, absolutely. Bitcoin will have the same run up as silver and more. It's inevitable. We know where the debt is going. It is backed by nothing, the dollar. We know 100% there will be two things that are guaranteed. The government of the United States and all governments of the world, because their currencies are backed by nothing, will absolutely keep printing more currency because they have to. And we know dumber and dumber things will continue happening. We know more black swans will happen. We know that. So if we keep Bitcoin decentralized and secure, it has the properties of the best money we've ever seen. And we know these other two things are going to happen. We know governments will print and we know black swan, dumb things will happen. What do we think will happen? Where do we think things will head? A plus B equals C. This is a very simple process. However, logic and reason don't normally get us to where we are looking to go. Time generally does the heavy lifting. Emotions do a lot of the heavy lifting. Justin Trudeau was one of the best orange pillars of all time. Freezing bank accounts, doing ridiculous things. How many people right there understood, yeah, I can't do this anymore? 2020, what happened there? How many people became Bitcoiners because of that? The relics of the past need to be left in the past. We are in a new world. And unless we plan on going back and an asteroid hitting Earth and we're going back to the Stone Ages, and someone needs to let me know that. What are we playing on here? Then I will gladly use gold and silver. Let me know. Please let me know. War paint. What is good? Bondage like the Israelites wandering through the desert, refusing to trust. Exactly. And that's the story of all of us, right? The story of us all. Refusing to trust. The big guy upstairs saying, trust me. Just trust me. Use common sense. Believe. Have faith. And we don't. Humans make it harder. We're always trying to make it harder on ourselves than what it has to be. We don't believe. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe we're worthy enough. It's a mental disease that we find ourselves in. So people constantly the more people that come to the Bitcoin network, the stronger the network gets. The hash rate continues to grow stronger. When you're in investing, you're looking at fundamentals, right? The fundamentals of Bitcoin have been getting stronger year after year after year for 17 years. The security of the network getting stronger and stronger. More miners, more nodes, the Lightning Network growing. Fedi, layer 2, layer 3 is growing. These things don't get talked about. Why is that? It's the same reason Bitcoin is the protocol. Governments are scared to death of Bitcoin. The beauty is governments are people, and people all win. That's the beauty of it. But as a collective, governments don't like it because it takes the power away from government and it puts it back into the people's hands. So governments themselves at large or banks don't like it. So what have they been doing for 17 years? They've been fudding the heck out of Bitcoin. Oh, it boils the oceans. We talked about this before. The energy narrative is psychotic. We've known that for decades. Yet here we are. Now energy's good because AI needs energy. Now all of a sudden it's great. You don't hear Bitcoin being fudded about energy usage anymore. But again, even if Bitcoin used the most energy in the world, it's using methane gas. It's using renewable energy. It's using all these good energies, cleaning up the environment, and it's giving you the best money humans have ever discovered. Where some guy over here can't scam you, can't screw you over, can't steal your time and energy. It is literally the best use of energy humans have ever found. The greatest thing you can be doing is studying Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin, self-custodying Bitcoin, putting it in your stamp seed, educating others about Bitcoin, running a node, and defunding the corrupt legacy debt-based monetary system that is literally enslaving all people. There's nothing better. What better thing could you be doing? People want to be altruistic. They want to be charitable. Humans are good. Humans are made good. Inherently, we are made good. Can we all slip? Yeah, of course. Can we all slip? Can some slip farther than others, or could all people slip farther than others? Of course. But we have a choice. Every single day we wake up. Do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? People want to be charitable. They want to be altruistic. Well, the best way to help all 8 billion people, we get into these Band-Aids on bullet holes. There's an oil spill up the hill. It's the money. No one thought to check the actual money we're using. They just started on step 2, step 10, step 100. They go to school to be trained like drones to memorize, to comply. The bell rings. When can I go to the bathroom? I got to ask for everything. I can't critically think and do all these things. I mean, again, look, these protests all of a sudden spontaneously come up out of nowhere. And it's like Zoolander. It's like all of a sudden there's something that triggers in your head and then all of a sudden you're off. You don't even know why, but you're like, I'm here. I'm in a different city. I'm doing different things. And again, both sides are right and both sides are wrong. We shouldn't have weaponized, militarized police and all these different agencies. This is very simple. You just follow the rules. Government has rules. The government's job is to protect the citizens in the country, inside the border, inside the walls. Have a military that protects people inside here. We don't need 900 bases around the world. We don't need to be like shoveling and busing people from all over the world into the country. So we're doing everything backwards. Why is that? Well, the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower warned us about it. It's the broken currency. The broken currency. War is very profitable. Go back, read War is a Racket from 100 years ago. This process is very powerful and profitable for those that run the banking system. War is incredibly popular. They like flesh laying on the battlefield. That's great because then there's less people to deal with. And then it's very profitable at the same time. The companies get to profit from that. There are insidious reasons. Most people don't believe that. I've talked to many people. I've had many close family members say, I just can't believe our leaders would do things like that. Well, believe it, because that's the story of the Bible. Believe it because it's what's happened for thousands of years. There's, ask Genghis Khan. There are people all over the place that will gladly throw you over the cliff just to gain a little bit of power, control, and wealth. And they'll do it again tomorrow. They will do it to their parents. They'll do it to their grandparents. They don't care. Those people generally seek positions of power. That's what the founding fathers knew. That's why they limited government so much and constricted government, because governments notoriously attract people that like to control other people. What does the devil like to do? The devil likes to control human beings. So at the end of the day, Max Payne, yes, Max Payne is coming. 100% T-Mac, 100%. Hopefully we can stave that off a little bit with education. Education only does so much. Like I said, emotion is what grabs people. People need to look for an answer. They need to realize they're being distracted. All the chaos around them, they can just go and build the life they want. I think there's a little thing in here, right here, the little John Travolta clip. I think he's walking down the street. I'm pretty sure. Like right here, again. Life, when you stop believing in all the doomer takes and then simply lock in on your craft. As we just said, study Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, run a node, self-custody, put your seed in your stamp seed, etch it in titanium, help others, help the people around you, get some firearms, get some food and water, get some food storage, get some clean water, fortify yourself. It's the best feeling because then you don't have to be doomer. You lock in your craft, whatever it is you're doing. Be great at McDonald's, be a great doctor, be whatever it is. And then you save more than you spend in Bitcoin and you get wealthier over time because there's only 21 million. We don't know how much gold and silver there is. We have no idea. We have no clue how many dollars there are. So good luck. TikTok, next block. Oh, sorry. I didn't do this. Some people are waking up around me thanks to gold and silver prices. It gets them in the mindset to hear about Bitcoin. 100%. And the great part is, again, I think this is, again, I'm mind reading, but this is part of the plan, so to speak. They have to crush the dollar. How do you really effectively do that? Well, you revalue gold. I mean, look at how many last year have been a lot of speculation. These governments have a lot of gold, right? They don't have a lot of Bitcoin right now. And Bitcoin is still a small asset class, right? Not even $2 trillion. So you can't make massive moves. These countries, sovereigns, all these people can't make massive moves in Bitcoin quite yet. It's very slow and steady for the moment just because it's still a small asset class. Gold and silver, much more of a liquid market in that sense, more of a global market where, hey, we can do some of the damage right now through this market. And it's waking, like you said, waking people up to what in the world is happening right now. And then you start finding these different things. Again, I started gold and silver. Like I said in the beginning, 15 years ago, I started in gold and silver. It took me 5 years from 2010, 2009 to 2014, 2015. Then I started seeing this Bitcoin thing and that came into my purview. So it takes time. Some of these things take time. But it is inevitable if you are curious and if there's endless currency printing and we know there's dumb things that will keep happening. So we know those things are all to be true and they will keep happening. We know, therefore, people will keep finding Bitcoin. As long as you don't shut up about it, as long as you keep educating and you're empathetic, people will find the truth at the end of the day. Audit every 10 minutes. This is the way. Nothing stops this train. 100% war paid. And that's why Bitcoin is so different. Gold and silver, you can't. They can play paper games with ETFs for 20 years now? Because no one can audit it. We don't know what's going on with the ETFs. We have no idea. How in the world can you audit what's happening? You cannot. Hence why paper games, and JP Morgan, all these companies have been fined for years with manipulating the silver price, all massive fines over the years, but you don't know what's actually happening. No one knows what's actually happening with gold and silver itself. You can't audit. That's different with Bitcoin. It's an auditing machine, triple entry accounting, auditing every 10 minutes. So you could play funny games for a minute or two, or a year or two, or a couple months or two, or maybe even 5 years, 10 years. But you will get found out. You will get snuffed out at some point. You will get exposed. Bitcoin is relentless. It is relentless. You will audit yourself right out of existence. And then, as we know, you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. So then you need to conform to Bitcoin's rules and the protocol. That's the difference. That's where the rules without rulers, all these things come in, because now people start seeing that. I mean, who knows? The FTX stuff could have cleaned up a couple companies. There could have been a couple more companies out there that we didn't know about, or there could be some other people that were thinking of going down that road, and then they didn't. And that will continue happening as a huge bank blows themselves up, which will happen. I guarantee that. Nation blows himself up because they're trying to play funny games with Bitcoin. And then you will learn. FAFO, right? F around and find out. And then people start changing. They start conforming to the rules because they realize, oh, I can't change the rules. This isn't the old currency printing. This isn't what I could do for 5,000 years with gold and silver and then do my currency printing. And then I could bend the rules. That is different. Totally different this time. T-Mac, I just saw YouTube tell that's spot on with the roadmap. It is. I mean, it's Bitcoin is going to give everyone a masterclass in 15, 20, 25 years of what gold and silver have done cyclically for thousands of years. But now we have the chance for it to stay. We have the chance for it to actually stay and not revert back to fiat currencies. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. It gives you that chance to not repeat history over and over and over again. So hopefully we can do that this time. Go Flames, go. Get out of here. Oh, you guys. Yeah, Trudeau sold all the gold, Chris. I know. He sold all the gold, but he orange pilled a ton of people, right? Because he froze all the truckers, did all that, the shenanigans. So it was great. At the end of the day, it was awesome. It really was. Yeah, T-Dog. What up? What up, T-Dog Yo-Yo? I've heard Nolan Bowerly say T-Dog Yo-Yo like 1,000 times over the years. So I've got his voice ringing in my head right now as I say that. Yeah, and that's, this is where, is it smart to have a little bit of diversification? I believe it is. I have a diversifying mind. That's just my personality, the hedging nature. And do I believe Bitcoin is going to be the system and the only system to advocate for? Heck yeah, 100%. But at the same time, I used to do real estate. I've divested a lot of my real estate over the years, and it's in Bitcoin over the last 5-10 years. But also gold and silver, food storage, fire, like all these things. This should be a part of your portfolio. Smaller parts of your portfolio. I mean, everyone's got their different. I'm not going to sit here and it should be 10%. Everyone's got different parts of their portfolio. But to hedge what's actually going to happen, like you said, if an asteroid hits, tail risk. Like, hey, who am I to say that there's not going to be an asteroid or something's going to hit? Be ready. Be ready for all scenarios. I think that's the thing where government schooling in life has taught us all, just-in-time shipping, all this stuff has taught us we don't need to be ready for anything. And that's anything but how life works. We need to be ready for anything and everything. And that's what people are. And community is the number one place to do all that. So again, one of our great sponsors to plug them, Club Orange. We got Mateo and Brian. Their podcast episode is dropping tomorrow. So go check that out. Awesome guys. 20,000 Bitcoiners. If you want to go find other Bitcoiners in your area, check them out. So check those guys out. The link's in the description. Club Orange used to be the Orange Pill app. So I know a bunch of you are on there, but check it out. Like it's the best time to go and get ready with the people around you. Community is the number one aspect of a survival situation because you don't know what you're going to need. You don't know, is it going to be, I need bread or eggs, water, who knows, gold, silver, Bitcoin. Like, you don't know what you're going to need. So you need community. You need people around you. So it will melt. If the asteroid hits, it will melt. But hey, at least it's somewhere, you can pick up your pile of gold and silver. So it's wild. It's absolutely wild. So at the end of the day, again, I had a bunch of other posts I was going to share in here too, but maybe we'll save them for a day or so from now. These guys getting wiped out here. Let's see here. I've got to share it. These guys getting wiped out, wiping their account out with, trying to trade. Again, this is what happens when you're trying to trade. You're trying to do ridiculous stuff. Letting the gold and silver guys have their moment. Hey, it's good. It's good to see. It's good to see because people, whether people know it or not, again, gold and silver, Bitcoin, it's all directionally going the same way. We know Bitcoin has the properties to be the global network. We know gold and silver doesn't, but it's okay. People are waking up to this. Think of the shocks people have had to their system in the last 5 years, 6 years. If you would have told me 20 years ago, as a kid who was very political, this is before Occupy Wall Street and Tea Party and all this stuff, if you would have told me in the 2000s that the richest guy in the world or all these people, whether the richest guy in the world, I don't know, who knows what team he's on, I don't care whose team he's on, but if you would have told me that you could go onto these websites and people would be talking about all the biggest conspiracies in the world, and they'd be talking about all the biggest, questioning the richest, questioning all the biggest entities in the world and the wealthiest people in the world and trying to look for transparency and questioning what's happening, I would have laughed you out of the room. We have made so much progress just in the last 5 years alone, 6 years, that I am beyond grateful, and beyond hopeful because we have Bitcoin too. I mean, I'd be hopeful. Even if we didn't have Bitcoin, I'd be extremely hopeful, let alone we have Bitcoin now. We have a network. We separated church and state. These cycles, I mean, you guys have heard Mark Moss talk about it over the years. If you haven't watched Mark Moss, go watch his channel. Incredible. The Q wave, the quantum wave, the tech wave, the fourth turning, the revolutionary 250-year wave. There's the 500-year east-west wave. Like all these waves are crashing together. So we're going through this time together. One of the most interesting times on Earth with all this technology and all these waves crashing, these cycles crashing together right now. And we have this money that we've never had in human history, which can support global commerce, which we know is the highest form of communication, is commerce at the end of the day. It's the greatest feedback loop, the greatest communication mechanism. We have it now where we can communicate across the world instantaneously, and it can't be messed up. It can't be stolen. The time and energy, your value, your wealth cannot be stolen from you. What's the value on that? It's priceless. So the whatever it is right now, 80 or 90,000 US dollars, whatever it is, that right there, it's an education barometer. What is the education of people? Max Payne is going to be needed. Black swans, white swans. These things are going to happen over time. The demographic shift. The older generations already made a bunch of wealth. That wealth will start transferring in the coming years to the younger generations. Younger generations don't have as much wealth. So of course they see it, but they don't have much to get the Bitcoin. But you save in Bitcoin, something that can't be stolen from you. You can transact outside of the systems. If a letter from the IRS comes and they're like, oh, we're going to levy your bank accounts and seize your income, your bank accounts. Cool. Good luck. Good luck. That's the government being defunded slowly over time. Because guess what? When someone sends you something like that, you're like, yeah, I don't have anything in the bank account. So good luck doing that. Now they answer to you. The government answers to you. You don't answer to them. Imagine as more and more people start catching on to that. Because right now, look, a lot of people are realizing there's a lot of problems and they're looking for answers. They're starting to look for more and more answers, and that's only speeding up at the end of the day. So we'll talk about some of these in the next few days, probably on Thursday. People complain about work ethic of younger generations for almost a century now. So all these clips, I thought it was just a good one. This guy had a couple good things, this boring business guy. And it was just showing all these clips from the last 100 years of people complaining. YouTube obviously is massive. YouTube is beating Netflix, everything for the top streaming. YouTube is just crushing everyone in every demo, which is, again, why we're on YouTube, why Bitcoiners need to be on YouTube. Bitcoiners everywhere. So again, I know we get Puritan and we're like, well, we got to only be on Nostr or like whatever. Unfortunately, that's not where the world is. And we need to be outside those echo chambers. We need to be on YouTube. We need to be on Twitter. We need to be on these places that quite honestly suck to be on. I mean, don't get me wrong, but we need to be fighting the fight where the fight's at. We got to go where the fight is. American Bitcoin increasing its holdings, Stake and Shake increasing its holdings, Strategy increasing its holdings over the last week or so. We got the Steve Hankeys of the world. This guy is the new Paul Krugman. Unfortunately, he is out to lunch completely. I appreciate you guys bearing with me today too. A little cold. Everyone's dealing with battling right now. And look at this. He's got his what? I don't know what this is. What the time frame is? I have no idea. But 1 year? Yeah, I don't even know. 1 year, not even a year. So Steve's telling you, he knows. Steve gets it, So, but again, remember, some of these people are paid shills. Like, we don't know who's who. Tether's launching more stable coins. I showed you guys this one. So we'll talk more about this. This one we'll save for later too. And again, this is kind of why we did talk about this though earlier of what's happening with the civil war that is trying to be ushered in. We're in a fight between the global order and the nationalist order, really, at the end of the day. So it's a wild time. But then here's one of the congressmen. We'll play this really quick, actually.
We're dead broke, and this is all this is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible because what happens? It comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have any money. We're dead broke, and then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. In this body, we had better start figuring that out because we're going to have a run on this city, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money that we paid in? I could have put my Social Security money 40 years in the market and probably be worth 8 to 10 million today, but the federal government wasted it.
Yeah. Just wild. Absolutely wild. And then we've got people stealing stuff from the government. This is exactly why custodying your Bitcoin, your self-custody, is so important. So incredibly important. Have the keys to your Bitcoin. If you don't have the keys, you don't own your Bitcoin. Right? This is paramount because the government is never going to be able to do any of these things for you, or private companies are never going to do it the way you want it done or the way you need it done. You don't have the autonomy. You don't have the independence. Again, like we said earlier, you can diversify. You can have some other stuff out there. It's fine. Not everyone has to live their own way. Everyone is in different situations, different walks of life, different ages, et cetera, et cetera. So the most Puritan way is to obviously just have 100% in Bitcoin or over leveraged in Bitcoin, and that's you're living off of that and whatever. That's not reasonable for every single person, obviously. If you can do that, more power to you. But you have to be smart with the Bitcoin you do have. So one of the guys, again, government contract, one of the kids, the guy who had the government contract, his kid stole a bunch of Bitcoin from the government addresses. It's just wild. So anyway, we'll talk some more about this. A little more education. What happened in 1913, obviously. It's the genesis of all of our problems, guys. What do you think of Monero? I love the privacy aspect of Monero. I don't know. I don't know a ton about Monero, so I'm not going to sit here and, the thing I think that's most important about Monero is that when you switch in and out of Monero, when you switch to fiat currency or back to Bitcoin or to Bitcoin, whatever it is, then that's when you can have issues, right? That's when you can be seen. At the end of the day, this is where, like Jeff Booth has always talked about and what Jeff Booth has invested in, the different layers of Bitcoin, layer 2, layer 3. Lightning is much more private. Fedimint is completely private. So there are solutions out there that are coming. They're already there, but they're also coming and getting better day by day, where it solves all these problems. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin at the end of the day. An open protocol, an anti-fragile protocol, can suck in and absorb all of the good things from other protocols. It can discard or battle against the bad things. So it can take on these different elements in different layers. And that's where it takes time. Again, people want to say, like a Steve Hanke, oh, Bitcoin's not accepted at a grocery store. Ha ha ha. So it's not money. Well, it has the properties of money. It has all the properties, but maybe not everyone uses it yet because education's not there. Maybe because you're out here fudding it endlessly. So it's all a state of mind at the end of the day. Bitcoin will have all these things. And again, as Bitcoin defunds the system and the incentives are in the system such that government is defunded more and more, guess what we're not going to have to worry about as much in the long run? The privacy aspect, because governments aren't snooping around all of your business. We don't have the financial crime network and all these different people. We don't have all these agencies anymore. And again, that could be a decade from now or a couple decades from now, whatever. But a lot of these things become non-existent. It's called outlasting your government, outweighting your government. And this is part of that game. So these solutions are coming. They're here. A lot of them are happening. But at the same time, this is why it is important to be educating, self-custodying, and defunding and suffocating the old network. Because a lot of these things will go away on their own. They will take care of themselves. So, oh man, I was wondering what this green thing was. New member, War Paint. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. We're gonna do some for the member stuff. We're gonna start this month because now it's 2026. We're gonna do some like a private live stream or two, just whatever it is, a couple bucks a month to support the channel. So I appreciate you guys a ton. We'll do some couple live streams a month, stuff like that. But I also feedback, like whatever you guys want. We got some other cool stuff too, obviously between the podcast coming up, the live streams. Also have a show or two that we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be doing with some of the other creators that we're gonna be doing together here, probably on a weekly basis. So watch for that here. I think they all start in a month, 3 weeks from now. Mid-February, there's 2 shows that I'll be on with a couple other Bitcoin content creators that we're gonna be doing as like a roundtable. We'll be doing weekly as well. So I think you guys are really gonna like those. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And two different groups of Bitcoin content creators. That's gonna be a ton of fun. And then as we grow this channel, I would love feedback from you guys as well of like what we can do better. Again, back behind the scenes stuff. The member stuff right now is, like I said, I have it as a minimal thing, but I'm going to start growing it here, do some private live stream, stuff like that. So it'll be fun. But I would appreciate you guys' feedback. Optimism from the Bitcoin community is great. Drop the politics and news and focused on Bitcoin. Never been more helpful and excited about the future. That is it, T-Mac. Like we said earlier, that is 100% all it's about. If you didn't open the news, watch anything on cable TV, or you didn't open Twitter in the sense of watching any of the news, guarantee you would 100x your happiness and hopefulness in life. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. So that's the thing that keeps our emotional state high. The devil loves fear. The devil thrives off fear. The devil feeds off of that fear. And we're constantly drummed up in this state of fear, the state of irrationality and emotions. And that's not how we're supposed to be. It's not how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to just be building. Just build. We have the tools. We have all the stuff here. Just build. Just grow. Just educate other people. Stay in that high vibration. The actual high, not a low vibration of fear, but a high vibration of optimism, hope, love, empathy. It's beautiful. And that's what we are. That's what Bitcoiners are. That's what some of these shows, one of these shows, they're going to kind of be about that, actually, ironically. So we have what we need. I mean, again, God love Jeff Booth. He's talked about this all the time. Like, who cares about all the stuff around you? Like, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. We need to build. We need to grow. We need to have our head down and focused. That's all Bitcoiners need to do. Because then you become the shining city on the hill. You become the example, and people start coming to you. If you build it, they will come. And we stand on the shoulders of many people who have built in the Bitcoin community. And what we're all doing, we all stand together and keep locking arms. We'll keep bringing people to us. We look the part, we act the part, we are the part, be, do, have. Then people start coming to say, you know what? I want that. I want what those people have. Those Bitcoiners, I thought they were crazy, but man, they really have what I want. Looks like the most ethical thing we can do. Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. So yeah, everyone's agreeing about this. I love it. I love the Bitcoin community. Sometimes when numbers go down, I need the team support. 100%. And that's why we do the live streams. The live streams, there's a ton of Bitcoin content creators out there, so we can gather together. There's a Club Orange. Again, used to be the Orange Pill app. So again, you guys go check that out. tell them our channel sent you, and Brian Mateo are awesome guys. And check out their pod tomorrow. And it's 20,000 Bitcoiners around the world. 20,000 Bitcoiners around the world. The stuff they're building out there is so cool. And then we can start to gather around people who are going the same direction, who believe the same thing, and are actually building something worthwhile that's going to last forever. So, yeah, exactly, Chris. I mean, we have the private Bitcoin technology now. It's just not evenly distributed yet, as many would say. The education is not there yet. The functionality, again, it's not just like anything in Bitcoin. Most people didn't buy Bitcoin 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because it was not easy. You didn't have like, I can get on Swan, or I can get on River, I can get on Fold, or I can get on Cash App, or I can get on all these, easy things, Strike, and just click and I'm done, or whatever it is. I can't just work in for Bitcoin, and now more people have it. I can go do a roof for somebody. I can get paid in Bitcoin. I can get tips here in Bitcoin. I mean, a lot of these things you couldn't do it 15 years ago. Now we can go buy easily. The Mt. Gox stuff, like all these things, you have to jump through all these hoops, do all this stuff. So this is happening with the other layers, the second layer, third layer of Bitcoin, and the subsequent layers. People are making it easier and easier to use Bitcoin at these different layers, to custody, etc. So this is what's coming, and so we all want it now. I'm the guiltiest of that. It's obvious. Can't we all see it? Beating people over the head with it, but it's coming. It's all coming in due time. So appreciate you guys. Went way longer than I wanted to. Of course, I feel like that's the thing I always do. Check the video out tomorrow. The one we just had on Nolan. I know you guys. It was a great response for that. I know a lot of you guys love Nolan. You're on his show all the time. T-Dog, Yo-Yo, everybody. I got to get some rest. And we'll have Brian Mateo, Club Orange guys tomorrow. So go check that out. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, guys. Ardman, everybody. Stack the dip. Good UTXO management to end. Yeah, so true. Who else? T-Mac, Warpaint. Thanks for the membership. T-Dog, Yo-Yo. Good to see everybody. Really appreciate you. And we will, see you on Thursday. Doug Fresh as well. That was the last one. See you on Thursday. Check the pod out tomorrow. Nolan's if you haven't, but also the pod tomorrow with Brian and Mateo. It's an awesome one. Really fun one. Really, really unique one, actually. Those guys, I don't think they've ever been on a podcast together, those two. So they kind of get into a little banter back and forth. Really interesting. So appreciate it, guys. We'll see you soon.